right, good morning, everybody. Good morning, please take your seats. Please move down a bit towards the front if you haven't yet taken your seat. And welcome to the 12th Annual ESPAS Conference. My name is Geraldine Barry. I'm an advisor at the European Commission's Joint Research Centre, and my connection to ESPAS is that I was closely involved in the production, the editing of the Global Trends Report of 2024, so last year's edition. I will say a few words about the conference running order, but after this very first session. At this point, I would like to introduce our opening speakers for the conference today. First, we will have Pascal Leardini, Chair of ESPAS, Deputy Secretary General and Chief Operating Officer of the European Commission. We will move then to Glenn Mikulev, our European Commissioner for Intergenerational Fairness, Culture, Youth and Sport. We do hope that the Vice President Negrescu will join us shortly. And joining us online, we should have Marilena Rauna, Deputy Minister for European Affairs from the Republic of Cyprus. And it's great that you're all here with us. Pascal, I will pass the floor immediately to you.
Thank you so much, Geraldine, and good morning, everyone. I'm very, very pleased to see a packed room for this 12th annual meeting of ESPAS that I have the pleasure of chairing for the time being. And I'm very pleased also to see that two former chair of ESPAS are with us, James Ellis, who is the founding father of ESPAS, and Anne Mettler, who will be a speaker later this morning. It's a great pleasure to see so many people today for a topic which is quite interesting and important for the institution of the European Union. I would like to thank Commissioner Mikulev, Vice President Negrescu, who I understand is on his way, stuck in the traffic somewhere, and Minister Rauna for joining me at this opening session. This is a very important week for ESPAS, because it's the week where we can show what we are doing during the year, producing reflection papers. I hope that you've grabbed 3 papers that have been put at the disposal of the participants today that shows the dynamism of ESPAS and the way we want to be connected to the important political agenda of the European Union. We can safely say that the great interest for today's conference and yesterday technical workshop that was organized by the Committee of the Regions are a key indicator of the vibrant community we have been able to build together. As you know, ESPAS is quite unique. I was yesterday saying that it's one of the rare processes which is not institutionalized. It is based on goodwill. It is based on personal engagement and commitment by all participants. I became chair of ESPAS 18 months ago, and we have tried together to develop the mission and the work during this mandate. We have produced the report last year before the start of this cycle, the political cycle, and we can be pleased to see that some of the ideas which were floating in the Global Trends Report have found some echo in the political priorities of the institutions. I was also recalling that some of the work of the Foresight community have found their way in the mainstream political agenda of the institutions. For example, strategic autonomy, which was developed 6 years ago in the Foresight community and has become a recurrent theme of our political agenda. Another one more recent is resilience. Resilience, which also was worked out by the Foresight community and then labored by the Niinisto report and is now a mainstream activity for all the institutions. The 3 papers that I've mentioned earlier on AI and quantum, on the future of democracy and intergenerational fairness are also attempts to really contribute to the discussion of the main political themes. You will see also in the foyer the results of the Horizon scanning projects run by the Joint Research Centre, which give you insights of the development which matters at the world stage. Turning to the content of today's conference, we have chosen series themes that will play a major role in shaping the long-term future of the European Union up to 2040. We haven't tried to cover every theme or topic. This is not feasible in just one day, but we have tried to line up a very reputable list of speakers which come from different horizons. Another subject of satisfaction for me is that we have been able to attract speakers not only from Europe, but also from the States, from India, from Brazil, and we try to reach out to more. Thinking in a structured way about the future is key added value of ESPAS, and we will try to maintain this. I would like to wish you a warm welcome to this day, and without further ado, I pass the floor to Commissioner Mikalev.
Thank you, Pascal, and good morning, colleagues. It is, for me, a great pleasure to be here today to reflect on the long-term challenges that our future holds, to think about where we want to be in the foreseeable future, but also in 2040. When we create policy, we need to reflect, in my opinion, on three central questions. The first is, what do we learn from experience? What are the lessons that we have learned from past policy? The second question that we need to answer is, what are our needs? What are actually the current needs for which we are designing policy? And the third question that we need to answer, and for me this is the most crucial one, is how does this new policy fit with the future challenges and opportunities that we face? Simply put, is our policy sustainable? ESPAS has a role to play here in allowing us to develop this foresight. Through our interinstitutional cooperation, it allows us to develop a shared understanding of emerging needs, opportunities, challenges, but also risks. And it helps us to adopt this long-term perspective in our policy. The work that ESPAS does alerts us to the need for action, particularly the work that was done in the Global Trends Report. Ahead of this conference, as Pascal mentioned, ESPAS has published 3 policy papers on democracy, on the future of AI, quantum and cybersecurity, and on intergenerational fairness. As the EU's first ever Commissioner for Intergenerational Fairness, I hugely value your cooperation and your input on this theme. And this paper will definitely be a strong contribution to the strategy that I will present next year. Intergenerational fairness and foresight are, to me, 2 sides of the same coin. They cannot be separated. Europe's future will be affected by our significant demographic shifts. And these are shifts that we must adapt to. We need to ensure that our policy builds a prosperous and a fair union for both current and future generations. And intergenerational fairness is essentially about long-term thinking and ensuring that today's decisions do not do any harm to future generations. It's about fostering a renewed engagement between generations so that the young and the old members of our society can stand together rather than be apart. We want to provide young people with opportunities, skills, access to the labor market, and affordable housing, while safeguarding the well-being of older generations through sustainable reforms and inclusive labor market policies. I want this strategy to mark a new mindset in policymaking, one that sees intergenerational fairness considered in all of our policies. And I want it to serve as a platform for flagship initiatives, boosting collaboration across the Commission, reflecting the whole of society approach that it's going to take if we want to overcome the shifts that we face as a society. This is why the strategy will be cross-cutting, touching upon topics from welfare to long-term care, to housing, to social mobility, to climate change, as well as competitiveness. And insofar as timing is concerned, the strategy is scheduled for adoption in the first quarter of 2026 and is being designed with the help of a broad participatory process. In January, we started by consulting representatives from civil society, from academia, and international organizations. We held a call for evidence which was open to citizens and to stakeholders, and now we're in the final phases of a European Citizens Panel on Intergenerational Fairness, which is currently underway. The third and final meeting of 150 randomly selected citizens from across the European Union will take place this weekend. In conclusion, I want to thank every one of you for your participation today. Your unique perspectives and your insights will be key to create an effective and forward-looking policy, and I sincerely look forward to hearing your ideas that will emerge from this conference. I wish you all the very best for these discussions, and thank you for being here.
Good morning, everyone. I will introduce myself, so not to be anonymous. My name is Victor Negrescu, Vice President of the European Parliament, and I'm happy to co-host today's event, and of course also together with the Commission and the other institutions involved to give more visibility to the work that is being conducted by our institution when it comes to Foresight. I'm happy to be with all of you today. This morning, I was before coming here in the plenary of the European Parliament where we had a debate with President von der Leyen and with the Council about the previous European Council. And I was just noting the fact that many of the topics that were touched upon are actually a part of the work that the Foresight teams are working upon. In the previous council, they discussed about artificial intelligence and competitiveness, and we are going to do that today as well. They discussed in the European Council about democratic challenges, and indeed, we are also going to do that today based on the studies that was recently conducted. They also, of course, discussed about social dialogue, about intergenerational fairness, and of course, this is again something that is touched upon in one of the studies that has been conducted by our researchers. Nevertheless, they also discussed about many issues for which we need to anticipate how we are supposed to make decisions, and in the same time making sure that the decision-making process is something that will offer a clear perspective for the future, where we need to evaluate the potential scenarios, see the potential threats, evaluate again the means that are necessary. And in this regard, there are quite a few topics for which we need to, again, conduct this kind of assessment, meaning enlargement, meaning our investment in defense, meaning our investment in technology, meaning the decision-making process as a whole, meaning how we can engage better citizens. So I strongly believe that what ESPAS is doing really enables decision makers across our institutions to better evaluate the decision-making process, anticipate some of the trends, while in the same time, and this is crucial, address essential questions for the years to come. Because today we discuss a lot about what is happening right now, but we also need to make sure that the legislation and the regulation that we get approved will have an impact in the future. And one of the examples that people refer to when we discuss about Foresight is the fact, for instance, that Europe has recently decided to come up with an act on artificial intelligence. And then, this document got approved 2 years ago, and now it's supposed to get implemented. And in the same time, we discuss about postponing or maybe not introducing in the implementation all the provisions, because some of them are already obsolete. This actually shows how important it is to try to make sure that when it comes to EU legislation in particular, we also make sure that when the legislation gets approved, it's something that is also applicable, but something that is tangible and really has an impact once the legislation gets approved, because we all know that the decision-making process at European level takes time, so therefore we need to make sure that the legislation also takes into consideration this period for its implementation. This being said, of course, Foresight is not there to tell people what to do. Certainly in the European Parliament it will be difficult to only look at a research study and decide upon that, but clearly offers perspectives. And this is the task that was given to ESPAS, to try to offer different perspectives, and again, open a conversation between decision makers, but also with the civil society, with different organizations, with member states, with citizens, to try, of course, to have a more integrated reflection process. And opening the reflection, in my opinion, is key, especially right now when we see a mistrust in institutions across member states. So the design of ESPAS is there to enable us to do that. Of course, this process has started a long time ago. We are here at the 12th Annual Conference, and I hope we will continue to do that for many years to come. Pascal has played a key role in the last couple of years to try to gather us around and to push us in working together. I also need to praise our team in the European Parliament, all the colleagues working actively in showing that the European Parliament, and I'm going to say that, is a leader in the process of Foresight, and we will continue to push all the other institutions and all our partners to try to do more, because we strongly believe this is something that is needed for Europe, is needed for the institutions, is needed for decision makers, is needed for citizens as well. This being said, today we have quite a packed schedule with a lot of intervention, a lot of speakers. We want to thank everyone for being involved, for actively getting engaged on the topics that are going to be presented by the different speakers, and we really hope that this annual conference will be again a success, making sure the ESPAS work will continue to be visible and influence decision-making in a positive way. So thank you again for all of you joining today, and I'm happy that together with my friend Commissioner Mikalev, we are here to again show our support and our commitment to make the Foresight activity becoming even more visible and more impactful at European level. Thank you so much.
Now we will pass to our speaker from the Republic of Cyprus, Marlena Rauna.
Thank you very much. Just confirming that you can hear me.
Yes, perfectly. Thank you.
Very good. Honorable Vice President Negrescu, Commissioner Mikalev, dear Pascal, esteemed guests, I'm absolutely delighted to join you today, albeit virtually from sunny Nicosia, for this timely exchange about strategic foresight and the future of our Union. The diversity of today's audience is precisely what gives this conference real value. With the Cyprus presidency of this Council just around the corner, in exactly 48 days today, this is precisely the kind of discussion that is pertinent. Thank you, Commissioner Mikalev, for the welcome and invitation to think together about the kind of Europe we want in the long term, in the world, for our citizens, for our children. We look forward to the upcoming intergenerational strategy. Allow me to also extend my appreciation to ESPAS for its valuable contribution in embedding foresight into policymaking. Strategic foresight will be central to the cooperation of the Ministers for the Future and the EU-wide Foresight Network meeting during the Cyprus presidency. The Cyprus government has, in fact, this year proceeded with the setting up of a national strategic foresight unit, because we need to ensure that the decisions we make today, the policies and legislation we pass, prepare us for tomorrow, that they build resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, the Cyprus presidency comes at a moment of inflection for our union, for Europe. As we often say, we are navigating a complex, fast-changing geopolitical landscape, in some cases brutally so. We are witnessing a profound shift in the very order that defined the post-World War II era. Since Russia's brutal invasion of Ukraine, Europe is no longer the same. This aggression has shattered our long-held assumption, illusion even, that peace in Europe can be taken for granted. From this corner of our union, here in the southeastern frontier, and from the European Union's last member state that is divided and under occupation, a frontline member state in a volatile region, it is absolutely clear what is at stake. We know that there are no frozen conflicts. We are witnessing not only a war on European soil, but an attack on the very values that have defined us: freedom, sovereignty, democracy, rule of law. The Russian aggression on European soil is forcing us to redesign Europe's security architecture, to build up, to build better. It is now painfully clear that Europe must be ready to protect itself and its citizens, building our defense capabilities, investing more in our security, including maritime security, protecting our critical infrastructure, technology and information security, building up our geopolitical presence in a tangible way, including through robust trade partnerships, building up socioeconomic and environmental resilience. In essence, removing our strategic dependencies. For many years, we debated, almost philosophically, how to strengthen Europe's strategic autonomy. The Russian war against Ukraine has made that debate obsolete. European autonomy is no longer debatable. It is no longer optional, and it is no longer theoretical. It is an imperative that we need to deliver on. Because this war has made our dependencies existential. From security and defense to competitiveness, trade, energy, interconnectivity, innovation, it is glaringly obvious that long-term resilience and autonomy go hand in hand. Ultimately, what we're discussing today is how Europe can stand taller for itself, protecting and projecting its values, forging bold partnerships in a turbulent, shifting world. But values today must be merged with interests. In a shifting world that appears to erode our founding principles, the Union must continue to stand out as a stable, reliable, strong actor that upholds multilateralism and international law. Autonomy and being open to the world are not contradictory. They are complementary. To stand on our own, from security, defense, trade, energy, we must be extrovert, outward-looking, and interconnected, engaging with our partners on equal terms in a 360-degree manner. Our unwavering support to Ukraine must and will continue on all fronts, because they're fighting a war for their territorial integrity, but in doing so, fighting a war for Europe. It is a litmus test for Europe's security. At the same time, if we truly aspire to be a global power, we must deepen partnerships across the world. Europe's southeastern neighborhood, the Gulf, Cyprus's immediate region, must not escape our attention in this exercise, because this region is essential to achieving our union's long-term strategic goals, from energy diversification and clean energy to trade autonomy, enhanced competitiveness, strengthened security and maritime stability, tackling migration and climate resilience. This region must be part of the equation. The wider Middle East and Gulf is vital for the European Union because it is inextricably linked with Europe's long-term security and prosperity. And Cyprus, lying at the European Union's southeasternmost corner, has consistently and reliably served as a bridge in advancing this potential. We stand here in the Eastern Mediterranean as the European Union's lighthouse, from crisis response to humanitarian aid to non-combatant evacuation. Cyprus has been and will continue to be part of the solution to the region's challenges. And through Cyprus, the European Union has a footprint in the Eastern Mediterranean. Enlargement, too, is a strategic imperative, a geopolitical investment and a necessity. From the Western Balkans to Ukraine and Moldova, enlargement is about reunifying Europe. It is about expanding our space of peace, stability, and security. Ladies and gentlemen, the next multi-annual financial framework must become the vehicle to deliver on our strategic priorities. And it must be flexible in responding to existing, but also future challenges. It must allow us to deliver on a Europe that is competitive, able to lead in the world, resilient and autonomous, a European Union that does things simpler, smarter, and faster, and that enables its citizens to thrive, innovate, and do business. This is the vision that the Cyprus presidency will pursue with ambition and pragmatism as an honest broker and working closely with the European Parliament across the board. Ladies and gentlemen, dear Commissioner, dear Vice President, shaping the Europe we want for the future begins with the choices we make today. And in doing so, we must be bold to turn this moment of challenge into an opportunity, because what is on the rise is a new Europe. Thank you very much, and I very much look forward to welcoming many of you to Cyprus in the 181 days Cyprus will be at the helm of the Council.
Thank you so much to our distinguished opening panel for setting the scene so well and for indeed giving us the scale of the challenges. Now, my immediate challenge is to try and keep the show on the road. We have a very packed schedule. For those, you'll find the conference program, if you haven't yet found it, by scanning the QR code at the back of the participants list, for those of you in the room, but I assume you already have. Ditto, the Wi-Fi connection is at the back of the participant list. We will seek your views during the day at various points using Slido. Do get ready to vote when we ask you for that. We will try and have a coffee break at 10:45 sharp. So again, we will need to move swiftly on. Please come back in time after that. Lunch will be from 1 to 2. And otherwise, we hope you enjoy the conference, and particularly also those of you not yet in this room, but those of you who are joining us online throughout the day. So with no further ado, I would like to invite our next set of speakers to come to the floor, and I thank again to our excellent opening remarks.